Welcome to Are We Old? The show featuring two comedians getting nostalgic and tackling life's toughest question, Are we old? Here's your hosts, Mike Fenoya and Charles McBee.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Are We Old? It's the podcast where we get nostalgic and answer that naggy-ass question, are we old? I'm Mike Fenoya.
Are you sure?
I don't know.
You said it like it was a question mark at the end of it.
I'm Mike Fenoya?
Yeah, you're old, buddy. We're at
Am
that.
I?
We're at that. Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have that like hanging up on like above my bed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're Mike.
Yes, you are Mike, and I'm Charles McBee. Still,
You sound like you're sure of it.
I think so for now until I hit 45, and then apparently
ouch!
That's when you forget.
Hey, you want to know what my dog got me for my birthday?
What's that?
You know, this is one of those things. I love autumn. We're both fans of this beautiful season, right? I will tell you the thing I hate about this season. It is that people who don't pick up their dog poop, it is camouflaged by orange and red and brown leaves. And my pup, who is prancing along, enjoying the sights, gets a nice mashy handful of dead leaf and dog shit in her pad. And she got me that today.
Nice.
We had to start late because I was scrubbing doo-doo out of her paw.
Isn't that
which
lovely?
Got on my hand, and then I wanted to set my hand on fire because I hate germs. But yeah,
I don't even think that should be a I hate germs qualifier. I think that can just be I hate shit that isn't mine on my hand.
I don't like mine. And I don't like hers. And I definitely don't like other dogs.
Dogs, yeah.
Isn't it hilarious, though? Like, because you have a doggy. If your dog steps in its own shit, you're kind of like, oh, well, okay, I'll clean it. I hate this. But if it's another dog's excrement, you're like, yo, I'm going to just leave you outside for the next person that drives by to take you.
Well, yeah, because if it's their own, then you got to, you're picking it up anyway.
Right.
Like if aliens came down and just observed and had no context, they would think that dogs ran the planet.
You're right.
They'd be like, oh, well, clearly the dog is the master and the humanoid is the pet or is the servant because the dog takes a shit and then the human picks it up and puts it in a plastic bag. Like, clearly the dogs are running this thing here.
There was a moment that I was like, when I first started dating my wife, I had a moment where I'm like, is she a smelly person? Like, is there a stink in the house that I don't? But it was me drunkenly walking my dog in the rain. I put a bag of poop in my pocket because it was pouring out, and I hung my coat in the closet, totally forgot about it. And like 2 days later was like, what the hell is that smell? And I thought it was her. I thought like something in the house was like, because it could never be me.
Bro.
And then I found the bag of shit.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know.
First of all, let's unpack this here.
Let's do it.
You but you put your dog shit in your pocket, forgot that it was there.
Yes.
And for 2 days or whatever. 2 days. Now you're over. Now at this point, your girlfriend, who is now your wife, surprisingly, but you're this point your girlfriend.
I love you, babe.
And in this story, even now, as you're telling it, you have the nerve, the testicular fortitude to go, I thought she was a smelly person. I almost broke it off with her. My question is, what the fuck was she thinking of you? Because prior to you arriving, there was no shit smell in her house. And now you're there and her house smells like shit. So what was she thinking about you?
She's an amazing person. That's all I could say. Luckily, she worked a lot of hours that week. But it was one of those things where it's like when you're walking a dog and it's raining and you've got an umbrella, You got your keys, you got your poop bag, maybe a flashlight,
Hilarious.
whatever else is in your hands, and you go down to pick it up. Everything falls out of your pockets. You cram everything in the pockets and run because the dog is soaking wet. I'm a little drunk, forgot about it, hung the coat up. I'm like, I'm dating a smelly girl. Nope. I'm an idiot, and I left a bag of shit in the pocket.
I'd be telling this story like, yeah, I almost got dumped by my wife because one day
I'm an idiot. I take full responsibility. And it was one of those things where it's always like when you're walking back to the house, you go, don't leave the bag in your pocket, you idiot. And then I did.
So when you got back to your place, were you like, well, my place smells, were you like, my girlfriend is so stinky that now my place smells like shit just by proxy of me being over there?
Buddy, I don't know. We were like in the beginning of kind of living together.
Yeah.
And I was
okay.
I was spending a lot of time at her place, kind of, but she's a nurse. So there would be days where she'd work like 3 16-hour days or whatever, and then have like 4 days off. So I was like, it was one of those periods where it was like, oh yeah, I'm just running and doing open mics, running around, doing stand up, having a cocktail or two on the way, at the end of the night. And then I get home and we walk our dog, and whoops, left a big old heater in the pocket.
Oh, yeah,
blamed it on her. Immediately I go, what smells in this? It can't be me.
Can't be.
It can't be the dog, which is a stink factory. It's this beautiful girl that I'm in love with.
Yeah.
Such an
Ironically enough, that's been your go-to ever since. Just blame her. Just blame Lisa.
I felt bad about that one.
It can't be me. That should be your next album. It can't be me.
Can't be me. Yeah, Don't Let Me Down was this one, and then It Can't Be Me.
Can't be me.
Do I sense a theme here, Charles?
Hilarious.
How are you doing?
Not bad, man. Funny enough, I got a MIO for you, if you don't mind.
You know what? It's interesting we have a podcast, so here's the place to talk about it.
All right, if you would so indulge me. I feel like, am I old because I have a cutoff. I just realized this, that I have a cutoff for what artists or songs I consider to be new. Meaning, like, if you ask me what new artists do you like, or what younger artists do you like, or young artists, I'll start naming like Kendrick, J. Cole, Drake. And I'm like, these motherfuckers are like in their late 30s, right? Or mid 30s or some shit like that. Like, they've been in the game for 10 plus years now. They're not new artists. But to me, I capped out at that, whatever that generation is, I capped out. I couldn't tell you. I mean, do I know what N Uzi Vert is? Sure. But do I know any of his music? Absolutely not. Dude. I don't know any of it. I still think Taylor Swift just came out like 2 years ago.
I'm like, not old.
I'm like, new pop star, Ariana Grande. Yeah, the little girl that. Yeah.
Who's this Selena Gomez?
Who is this person? She's what? How old is she? 12.
I'm with you, and I will. And they own homes bigger than we'll ever have.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. And if you're old, then so am I, bub, because I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
And I am a music freak. And there are, you know what got me? Green Day got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame however many years ago. And I was like, there's no way. They're brand new.
Yeah.
They're brand new. And then I looked up, their first album came out like when I was in middle school. And I'm like, huh? How the hell is that? Because you got to be like, I think it's like 25 years or something from like when your first album drops is when you're eligible. I think that's it, maybe 30 years. Yeah. But I'm like, there's no freaking Green Day. They're brand new. Nope, they're like 50.
You want to? Yeah, yes, and also to piggyback, if you will, I remember when the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame opened up in Cleveland.
Yeah, buddy, that's right. That's a big deal.
I remember one being like, oh shit, there's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And two, everyone being like, in Cleveland?
Well, you know why?
Yeah.
because the heart of rock and roll is in Cleveland.
Heart-
And from what I see, I believe him. You remember that song?
I do vaguely remember that song. It's in
Huey Lewis
somewhere
and
in
the
my
News.
mind box.
That's a Huey Lewis and the News song. The
Yeah.
heart of rock and roll is in Cleveland.
Was that Huey Lewis? I only knew by proxy of Back to the Future.
Yes, he's done more. But
yeah, I know,
will say,
not to disrespect Huey Lewis and the News, but
I'm afraid you're just too darn loud.
Yeah.
I will tell you, Huey Lewis was a guy. Now here's the thing. A lot of people don't know this. The song "Back in Time." Everybody get back in time. If you listen to the lyrics and read the lyrics, it's written for the movie. It's like, tell me, doctor, where are we going this time? Is it the future? Is it 1955? Please don't drive 88. Like, it's all like, I love those songs when they're written for, it's a badass tune on its own, but it's written for the movie. Those are fun.
Yeah, but the director was like a huge fan, right? Of Huey,
I think so.
Huey
Yeah.
Lewis,
I mean, he was in the movie. He was,
Yeah.
Huey Lewis is a very sad story with him that he now has a disease that like he can't sing anymore. He's got like an inner ear thing that's like thrown off all of his pitch and tone, and he gets vertigo and all types of shit. So he can't even like perform live anymore, which is quite a bummer. But there was a documentary, We Are the World, about when you should check it out, when they recorded We Are the World. And he was like really cool to hear him like kind of, he got paired with Cyndi Lauper, and I forget who the third person, maybe Steve Perry.
Wasn't he called in to, am I making this up? Somebody was, I think it was him. He was called in to replace Prince because Prince refused to show up.
Well, like Sheila E. got called, and she was Prince's, like, they basically called her. It's horrible what they did to her. They called her going, well, she comes, maybe Prince will come.
Yeah.
And Prince didn't come, and she kind of was like, they were like, we didn't really even want like you.
Oh,
here.
that sucks because she's an icon. Yeah,
she is. But to your point, dude, all this could be happening now with little Xanax or little Nas. I don't know, bro. Listen, I'm trying so hard. That's my mantra, and I repeat it a lot on here. Don't age where you don't hate. Don't age where you hate things that you don't understand. I don't want to hate the music because I'm not into it. Okay. I cut off at like when I was a kid, I'm a classic rock guy. I'm an old school New York hip hop guy. The only out of New York hip hop I love is Outkast. Okay. Bone Thugs, I know they're from your home state, right? I had a hard time with them because I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel it. I never got into like the deep South shit. Gangster rap was like, I'm not driving around, in the RTD, the rough, tough, and dangerous. If I could like shoot, like I didn't get Compton, whatever. Nas, De La, Tribe, Jungle Brothers, all that shit. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it for a million years. But to me, it ended at a certain point, and I just stopped. I go, this is all the music I need. There's enough Wu-Tang orbit that'll keep me busy for the rest of my life. I can't keep following. I didn't get into Puff, Mr. White Party, Baby Oil, Diddy.
No, wait a minute. Now you're telling me you weren't at any of those parties? You didn't get it? No,
I was not.
It's very convenient how nobody was at these parties nowadays.
Were you?
I wish. As a kid.
No, I was not.
I used to watch,
believe it or not.
I used to listen. I'm not gonna sit here and mind you, we do have final edits, so some of this might get cut out when I rewatch this
for the Patreon.
I'm not gonna sit here and act like I didn't used to watch MTV as a kid, like MTV Beach Party, MTV, all those MTV Summer Jam, blah blah blah. And Puff Daddy used to have those parties on MTV. Like you would show, there was these like snippets in between videos or whatever. And I used to be like, man, one day I'm going to get an invite to one of those parties. One day. Boy, oh boy, am I glad that my dreams never came true.
You had to fall back on comic and TV show writer. Thank God.
Man, if there were ever a time where I'm glad God Almighty did not grant One of my wishes. That is
Dude,
one of them.
you saying that cracks me up. Can you imagine just how out of place I'd be at like a Diddy white party? There's just all these like Leonardo DiCaprio and Trump and Epstein and all these scummy people walking around, and I'm just like, I'll just stand over here near the seltzer, and like what the fuck? I got invited to one of those what's his name? Chappelle had like a comedians party or whatever, and just because I happened to be sitting, it wasn't like he invited, hey Mike.
Same. I got
It was
one of
just
the same
and I'm just sitting
scenario.
near him, and he goes, "You're coming to the party, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And I didn't go because I'm
Yeah.
like, "The hell am I gonna? I'm gonna be so out of place. I'm not good." I'm like, "Do you remember Tom Hanks in Big, Josh Baskin,
Of
when he
course.
wore the white tuxedo to the Christmas party, and he's just eating beluga whale, whatever, and it's burning his tongue, and he'd rather just be like riding in the limo, drinking a milkshake, hanging out of the top. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, but
I don't want to be at these things where I'm not comfortable,
here's the thing, though. Josh Baskin also ended up banging a 26-year-old
when
and
he was
taking
11.
when he was 11. So it could work out.
It does work out. It totally works out.
You got to just go. Sometimes you just got to show up.
That's it. It's not the destination. It's the ride.
It's the ride. There you go.
Yeah, there was a time when I shut off in music. Now, remember, I'm a lap or two ahead of you in this race we call life. So when I was in high school, that's when kind of like alternative rock kind of started to, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, that stuff I loved.
I was into it all.
Alternative rock started to come around and I liked it, but with a begrudging kind of listen to it in the car alone. I wasn't like, I had a thing where it's like, okay, over each shoulder here, you see Grateful Dead and you see Fish. Those were my two things. Those were my blinders, Charles. Okay. And there was a thing that like nothing was going to touch those two bands for me. That was my Dungeons and Dragons, right? Now thank you to Sirius XM's Lithium channel and the 90s channel and the 80s channel. I go back and nostalgically listen to that stuff. But there's a cutoff, okay? Blink 182, Good Charlotte, all that, whatever, that mall kind of, even Weezer to a point where I was just kind of like, and I was 17 and I'm going, this is kids music. This is kids music.
Not from me. Yeah.
So literally from like that moment on, I didn't pay attention. And then there became this kind of era of music that was like, now listen, I love MF Doom. I love the Shins and certain newer, 2002, 2003. I don't know anything new, bro. I don't even know if you played me Lil Nas X, if you played me Megan the Stallion, if you played me, what's this My Espresso girl that's now all over my algorithm? I don't know.
Don't even ask me.
I don't know, but it's there, and I'm like,
sounds like a menu item at Starbucks.
Exactly, Sabrina something, and I'm just like, I don't know what Nickelodeon show did you start on? What but I'm trying very hard to go like, don't hate it, just realize it's not for you. Well, like the mumble rap thing to me was like, I can't even.
You don't. There really isn't any reason to hate it because most of us don't listen to regular radio anymore. I mean, you listen to Sirius, but like you said, Sirius has curated certain channels that are directly
lanes
for
you could stay in. Yes.
So it's not like we have to listen to the radio as our only source of music and then be bombarded with a bunch of shit that we don't know and don't want to listen to. We can literally just go onto our playlist now,
right,
on Spotify or whatever, and get lost in whatever 90s wormhole you want to get lost in.
Amen. And thank God.
Yeah, and we don't what to be indoctrinated with Lil Nas X or whoever X. So
what is new to your old head?
My new is still, my last recollection of new is Big Sean. When it comes to hip hop, it's that whole Big Sean, Wale, Kendrick, Drake class. Okay. That's the last class where I was like, because I was like, oh, these are rappers that are, because for your whole life you're looking up to musicians that are older than you. These
Great
are
point.
rock
Great point.
gods and icons that you look up to and you want to be like. And then there's a point where the most popular artists that are out are younger than you. And you're like, I'm not fucking, looking up to these guys. I'm not like aspiring to, these guys aren't inspiring me. So the last like kind of wave of music that I was like, you know what? I like their music. I'm gonna listen to it. I rock out with it. Was like Kendrick, like the whole Good Kid, Mad City, Drake, that whole era. But then after that, Migos. I can appreciate Migos at a party or something like that. But I was not I was not indulging in Migos catalog. Lil Uzi's, the Lil Yachty's, the
The
Lil
Lils, the
era,
Lils,
the Lils.
the Smurf era of rap.
Yeah, I was. That's funny. The Smurf era.
Who was Smurfette? Who's like the female
Smurfette.
Lil?
In the Lils? Who knows? Now it's like Sexy Red.
Yeah, I don't have a fucking clue who any
The
of these
only
people are.
and the reason that I know some of the quote unquote newer artists now is because now we're at a point where the artist that I grew up listening to has podcasts and has blogs and vlogs and shit. So
And vitamins that they're selling.
yeah, I hear them talk. Yeah, exactly. They're all selling like dick pills and and, and multivitamins, and I hear them talk about like newer artists and stuff. So I kind of learn by proxy of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I still don't know their music. I just kind of know like of them and stuff like that. So like these Glorillaz and all that kind of stuff. Like I know because I hear them talk about it. But yeah, I don't know any of their songs.
It's so wild. One of the weekends recently, I was doing Zanies in
You
Chicago.
just said one of the weekends, and I thought you were talking about the music person.
The Weekend. Yeah, that was another, like, when I heard that, like, actually, I liked him on SNL. That's another place where I've tried to absorb or digest or sample some new music is SNL. They always seem to be really good at having, like, the worst of the new.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who the fuck is whoever that is, But The Weekend I liked. What's it called? I was in Chicago when Lollapalooza was going on. Okay.
All
so
right.
I'm at a hotel on Lincoln Park, Lincoln Park I still think is new, and the guy's dead.
Right.
And at the bottom of Lincoln Park I think that's where it was going on. And I was like, maybe one of the days I'll swing through and check out some music, Buddy, I looked up the lineup. Other than like a couple headlining bands that, again, I don't care. The Killers, I don't really care. I don't even know who else there was. Just nobody memorable to me.
Yeah,
I looked at the lineup and I'm like, who the fuck? Who are any of these people? I remember looking at like a Bonnaroo. I went to the first ever Bonnaroo. Okay. And I knew almost every band. If it wasn't, and now I look at it and I'm like, I genuinely don't have a clue who these people are. And I know a lot of them are SoundCloud, like famous or whatever, because you're going to do 2-3 songs and that's it, But there was a girl, Chappelle Rowan. I don't know. If you Google that, it's like the world, like they showed the whole crowd at Bonnaroo, literally like 100,000 people all like swaying to this song. And I was like, wow, this person's gigantic. I've literally never heard those two words before in my life. And they were like the headliner of Lollapalooza that night. Lollapalooza used to be Jane's Addiction, Porno for Pyros, Beasties, Pearl Jam, fucking like that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you could just go and like, if I got to go to the side stage, I'll check out whoever. And, 311 is there, whatever. Like, these bands you heard of. Weezer freaking started at those, Now I'm just like, I'll just go to the Cubs game by myself and eat a hot dog and take a nap in the 4th inning. And like, I love music festivals, but I'm also kind of like, this isn't for me. Like, it's okay to like, I'm tapping out of this one. I have no idea who any of these, and I'm sure there was great music there, but I don't have the time to invest in a new band unless I can Sopranos it. Okay. If you go, check out Migos. Okay. They're great. I can go back and listen to everything that they have out already on Spotify, on Apple Music, whatever. That I'm into. For me to like ground floor get in on someone now, I don't have the time, and they don't want me. You know what I'm saying?
They're not curating.
They want
You're
my
not in their
nephew.
you're not in their demographic, and that's okay.
No,
And
I'm gonna
that's
die
okay.
soon.
Go to the Rock the Bells concert and have a good time.
See, that's what I'm talking about, dude. I want to see my favorite 15 rappers do the song and a half that I love. You know what I'm saying?
There you
I'll
go.
tell you what, I was very disappointed in myself not going to, and I'm pissed because I'm getting to a point now and talk about music. This is a good point. And I'd like to know, do you have a list? Ding, 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 list moment. Do you have a list of artists you want to see before they die?
Oh man,
Know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I just saw Stevie Wonder and it was like, okay, check him off.
yeah. I'm trying to think artists that I want to see before they croak. Oh yeah, Earth, Wind and Fire. Earth, Wind and Fire. The Black Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, our Rolling Stones. They are. I mean, they're fucking phenomenal. They'll never not be. They're iconic.
Yeah.
I mean, going to a live Earth, Wind and Fire concert would literally be fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would shake the earth.
Yeah.
I would like to see I'd like to see Paul McCartney and I'd like to see the Stones. Those are like two that I have on my list that I saw Bruce Springsteen this year and Stevie Wonder. And Stevie Wonder, I never in a million years thought I'd see live. And it was so fucking great.
It was a moment in New York City. I felt like my timeline was just filled with
it was
people
so
at
good,
that
Charles.
concert.
It was so good. It was just unbelievable. It was wild how good he sounded. Yeah, you know, there's a couple on the list. I'd like to see Madonna. I think Madonna would be kind of neat. Yeah, why not? I mean, I don't care, but I mean, I bet that would be a thing of like, oh shit, that's a lot of great songs that I forgot she did, you know?
See, now there's some people in that same vein that I kind of wouldn't want to see because I feel like it would ruin it. It would ruin the image of what I have in my head. If you know what I mean? It's like watching Ali fight after his prime and you're like, man, that's not Ali.
And would Madonna be one of them?
I feel like it would be just because from what I see of her now, whenever she pops up, I'm always just like something weird. She's in, some weird phase of her life where she's like still trying to be 20 and it was like, 60 plus. And I don't mean that like young at heart or not to be ageism or whatever you call it, the fuck, but just like where you're just kind of going,
Yeah, no, you're not who you were. I get that. A lot of my music is very, listen, Grateful Dead guys are in their freaking late 70s, early 80s, and I'm still going to see them.
Yeah, I don't want to see Madonna like rolling around on stage in a wedding dress. Like I today. That's me.
Saggy, imagine like saggy cone bra, like they're just pointing. It looks like two soft serves in the summer.
Yeah, not my idea of a good time, but to each his own.
People in the front row just getting blinded.
Just like, no, thank you.
Ow, Madonna's tits are breaking my eyes.
They were protesting when she was 20, but now they're protesting for different reasons.
Stop hurting the people in the front row.
Stop.
Yeah, we'll have to come up with a list and ask hey, let's ask the crowd.
Yeah.
Who do you want to go see before they kick off into the next dimension? Are we old podcast at gmail.com? Are we old podcast at gmail.com? Charles, you know what I'm nostalgia for lately?
What's that?
I'm moving and I came across a box of cassette tapes.
Very interesting.
So the music I like, okay. Each of these bands right here, they never repeated a set list. So they would go out and play like a unique show every night. So we would collect the shows. So each show was its own unique experience. And you kind of, that was like my Dungeons and Dragons or Magic the Gathering, is you collect the live audio tapes. Now, I always had a blank tape in my tape deck with play and record, press down, and pause. Because when a song would come on the radio that I wanted, I'd unpause it and it would tape off the radio. And that's how we
Absolutely.
got music as a kid.
Absolutely.
Nowadays, it's wild that literally there's apps that are like, re-listen as an app that like you could just go back and listen to live shows. YouTube, basically, if you don't go to a concert, you could find 80% of the concert like on YouTube afterwards.
It's
Even if it's
crazy.
shitty video or whatever, there's 65 videos of people trying to be, content producers or whatever.
I mean,
Like,
there's concerts from like 1986, Michael Jackson in Japan. Like, you're just concerts.
it's
There's
insane.
tours you didn't even know happened or existed, like obscure shit. Whitney Houston in Zimbabwe, and it's just like, from 1993 or some shit. They're all on YouTube. You can like, I've definitely gotten my YouTube wormhole of just concerts, and like that's why when you say it's like, are there any concerts of artists I want to see before they die? I'm just like, it feels like I've seen a lot of them because
yeah.
you just
After
go on
they've died.
YouTube and you just kind of rock out.
Yeah, it's very true. I'm nostalgic for like getting music from my friends that if I like a song and I want you to check it out, all I have to do is text you a link now. Right? There was a thing of like giving people tapes, right? You got the new, Judgment Night soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
And I would go like, dude, please make me a tape of that. And I'd bring in a blank tape to school. You would take the tape home. You'd make it for me. I would go to bed like tomorrow's Christmas morning. Like, I'm going to come in and get this new tape from you.
Yeah.
And if you forgot it, it ruined my day. But if you remembered, it was like so great. And I had new music to listen to and it was on this tape. And did you make a label on the tape? Did you label the songs? Did you, because you couldn't look it up on the internet.
Oh,
So
you
it was
had
like,
good friends.
well,
If you had a
really
friend that would
valued-
label the songs for you, that's a friend to the end. Because I wasn't doing that shit for nobody.
you wouldn't even put the stickers on the
Hell
tape.
no. The most is like, I would you could come over and I would dub it. You could dub it or whatever, because you weren't getting my copy.
No.
You could come over and dub it there. Or I would be like, or a friend, I'd be over at my cousin's house or something, and be like, oh, let me dub that. Let me dub that. And I would bring my tape over and we would dub it right then and there. But yeah, and when you dubbed the tape, you had to listen to it in real time. It was no, you had to,
You're right.
you played it and you listened to it in real time all the way through. Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, you would sit there and write down, on the sleeve, write down the artist and the song or whatever it was. Those were times. There was tangible things you had in your hand. The way we consume music, tangible. So you literally felt like you owned a copy of Rolling Stones or of Nirvana or whatever. You owned a copy of whatever it was. And so you felt that ownership and that pride. You left your house and went out to the music store and grabbed it from the shelf and took it and bought it or stole it or whatever you did. And you had it in your hand. And now it's in the air. It's a
poof. It's a poof. It's a thing that you can go, nah, next.
Yeah.
And you want to know what's crazy too, Charles? And this is something that like unlimited data kids will never understand from our old heads. I remember there being times where it was like I had a tape deck on me. I always had a Walkman. If you drew me as a kid, I had a Walkman with the cord going up and the things, and I would like
and the wire
coming out of my shirt, and I would listen to like Adam Sandler or the Jerky Boys like in school, right? And always had batteries, always had tapes, always had whatever. Now, there were times when someone would go, yo, I got the new whatever it was. And I'm like, can you make me a copy of it? And they're like, give me a tape. And I had to choose tape over this. Tape over this. So it wasn't even that we had like unlimited tapes. It was just, yo, I want that more than. So imagine kids now going like, Sophie's Choice. Yes, I have to delete this playlist for this new playlist. There's no even thinking about that. Now you just go, I like this playlist. I unlike this playlist. I like this. Move this playlist up to this. Bring it back down. We had to go, God, I love Steve Miller Band's greatest hits, but I really, really want, the Simpsons Christmas album.
And sometimes the songs would blur into each other.
You could hear it in the background. Everything was so imperfect, but it's how we remember it, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how I still remember certain shit is like, oh yeah, the beginning of like a Leonard Skinner song right before House of Pain, Same as It Ever Was kicks in or whatever the hell, So we had, and then there was the thing of like keeping the tapes that like you had to go through in your head once you got a license or once you started to carry around like a backpack with your tapes. I have to pick which ones to bring with me for the day, right? Because you couldn't bring all your tapes. If you had a tape case in your car, you maybe only had whatever Case Logic tape case you had to pick what you wanted to listen to, and that was it. You had to do without. You had to do without. And I don't think that's a thing. I'm nostalgic for doing without.
Yeah, nobody knows about that anymore.
No. You had to wait to go home and listen to a song, dude.
You had to wait, and we talked a little bit about this before. You had to wait to go home to listen to a song. You had to wait to go home to watch whatever TV show you wanted to watch. If that TV show came on, you better get home, or else the TV show would go away and you never see it again until the summer sometime. You had to wait to go home to talk on the phone. You had to wait to go home to see if anybody called you. It was a lot of waiting to go home to do things.
And getting there and getting home and seeing like, oh, look at the answering machine's blinking,
Yeah.
Like maybe that's that girl. And then it's like, it's just the dentist. But you're right, dude.
It was a lot of that. And also the tape, there's certain things that were modern to us at the time that is prehistoric now, but I remember my mind melting and oozing out of my ears when it came out. I remember because I was a big Walkman guy too, and I always had to have the latest shit. You had to have, there was like the bass booster, which was bullshit.
Dude, bass booster and shockproof. The one with those yellow with the clip, and it was like shockproof.
Shockproof. The bass booster.
Boost was bullshit.
Bullshit. This is what your music sounded like with bass booster. Just like
bass boost made it sound worse.
Yeah. Then there was no Beats by Dre back then. But I had a Walkman that when the tape got done, it had a tape flipper. It was a little switch.
Oh my God, dude. Who are you? Richie Rich?
That's right. A little tape switch that flipped the tape from A to B or B to A. So you didn't have to go through the blood, sweat, and tears of taking the tape out. And when it was done playing, when it got to the end or whatever, it would just automatically flip it over to the other side and start playing. So it was the first kind of endless, you could just listen to a tape, repeat endlessly. I was like, oh, this is insane. I'm a Jetsons.
You were literally like the kid that I would have been like, can I see your tape deck? And it's funny because I loved tapes and I invested in tapes and I was like, tapes is it. How can technology ever get any better than this?
Couldn't possibly.
And then one kid brings in a flat, weird looking coffee filter thing. And I go, what the hell is that? Compact disc. No. Absolutely not. I was 13 and I'm like, no, I'm too old for this shit. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, then CDs started becoming a thing. And I remember a tape was $10. A tape was $10.
Mm-hmm.
CDs were like $17.99, $18.99. It was almost double. And I'm like, I remember asking my parents, going up like tail between my legs, like, I need a CD player. Like, I can't, they're starting to not make certain shit on tape. No, come on. You got all these tapes. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I don't like it either, and then those stack rack, put it on your dresser stereos started to have one CD player and then a carousel, 3 CD, 5 CDs if you were really rich and your parents loved you. 5 CDs. And it was like, holy shit. And then you could put it on shuffle and it would play one song, skip to another, go to another. And it was like, what on earth? It's a jukebox in my house. And then I started seeing kids coming in with blank CDs, Charles. Blank CDs. What are we doing here?
Get your markers. Get your Sharpies ready.
Get your Sharpies ready.
We're in a whole new world here.
Order jewel cases.
You would have the CD. You have your boombox, not even a boom, but your stereo in your room with the detachable speakers. Because you had to have the detachable.
That slid off like this.
Slid off, Charles. And you can stretch it out over here. Who are you? Who are you? And then
Who do you think you are?
You would play it and you would see the little lines light up or whatever the case.
And you're like, well, do I want to listen to it in hall? Do I want to listen to it in studio? Do I want to listen to it in outdoor? Do I want to? Who am I all of a sudden?
Right.
Who am I? Hall. Yeah. Let me listen.
Why would anybody ever want to listen to any song in hall mode? So you could feel like you were at the show by yourself.
I'm just sitting alone listening to Fiona Apple in my room.
In a banquet where you thought you was in a banquet hall listening to Sheryl Crow.
Let's pick hall for
my God.
Counting Crows.
Too funny.
Insane. And you're right, though. You would be able to undo the speakers and bring them this far away because the cable was fucking tiny.
Yeah.
I remember Frankensteining together like old speakers that like I think my uncle or dad had or whatever, these massive, and you had to clip them with little fucking Frankenstein neck things that like you and you'd get zapped a pinch or whatever. One would be shorting out, it'd be flickering. Kids are never going to understand what a flickering out speaker sounds like now. Now you just go boop, 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 boop,
yeah.
And Bluetooth connects to it, and you could throw speakers all over the house, and nobody knows the difference. But we had to stretch that shitty ass cable.
That's right. We're little fucking electricians.
We were little scientists. We were little chemists. We're like, how do we make this sound better? And let me ask you this, Charles. What was the worst? Was it when your headphones one ear started to short out?
Oh God.
Or when your batteries would start dying? And it's like, am I having a little kid stroke, or does LL Cool J sound a little bit slow to me today?
Mine it's definitely the headphones shorting out, because the batteries I would just steal from somewhere else, or I would grab something and then we were back rocking. But when the headphones started shorting out, it's just like, oh man, like
buy another set of headphones.
Can we just have a moment to remember and appreciate those little wire headphones with the little styrofoam
baby phone ear covers?
Little baby phone ear covers. Like, can we just take a moment to appreciate that was the level of just your everyday headphones that we all used?
Oh yeah.
And I remember those things because the covers would wear out.
Yes.
And that thing would just stab you
in
the ear. And
the things we did to listen to music.
The things we did, man.
They were horrible. And do you remember how some of them were like made for like fucking the biggest head ever, like a freak head, and you'd put them on and they'd be like down here, and then when you like went and clicked them up,
click, yeah,
and then they went like out like this, and you looked like a weird, like we all looked like half a reindeer or something. Yeah, it was horrible, dude.
I saw a Zer. I saw Gen Zer rocking one.
Oh yeah, they coming back.
I was like, all right, I see you.
I remember when Sony had that yellow. That was the badass. That was the iPhone of headsets. Was the Sony Walkman that was yellow?
Yes, it was like rubber. It had like you could
shock-proof, swim-proof. It was like the
Timex
Iron Man watch of you could do anything you wanted. Yeah, you could play Weird Al in it.
Yeah.
So what was great was that like they had the first inner ear things because they had like tight to your head, yellow and black, almost like it looked like a hornet.
Yeah.
And then they put the ear things in, which was weird because then when somebody would like go, yo, let me listen to that. One of the things you used to be able to do with our shitty little fuzzy things was you could like almost pop it off and like let someone listen to
That's
it.
right.
And you can listen in one ear and the other
That's
person's
right.
listening, and you click it back in. You could jailbreak it almost.
Yeah. Oh,
Not
man,
now.
I forgot all about that.
But when you had the inner ear things, you couldn't do that.
Couldn't do
so
it.
It was almost, yeah. So it's kind of like get your own, you know what I mean? One of the best things too about like being into a chick or making a new friend was you made them a mixtape.
That's right.
Or a mix CD, which you don't do anymore. What
That's
are kids doing now? Making a playlist for their
Making
chick?
a playlist, I guess. But I mean, I don't even
how
know.
boring.
Oh, how unoriginal. How impersonal.
You had to lay out all of your music on the bed and go, what song do I open with for her to know I like her, but I'm not a creep, but I'm into her, and that maybe that little inside joke that we had on our first date, hopefully she'll remember.
That's right.
And you do that song, and then you're like, oh God, I hope, and you curate, dude. You make a buffet of your feelings.
That's right. It was
and
your
you lay
set
it
list.
all out there, and you take time. I've thrown out blank tapes because I needed the case to rewrite Mike's summer playlist for this lucky young woman. And I would give it to her, and I'd go, "There's my heart, babe.
Yep,
there it is.
There it is. It's all been said for me by these artists.
The beginning song and the last song were like,
you had to open and close strong.
Oh, if you really loved someone, you made him a play. You made him a song. Now, you made him a mixtape. Oh my God, those days are gone, dude. I feel bad for kids that aren't going to be able to experience that.
Fuck them.
Fuck them. One day, people are going to find our old tapes in like the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. And they're going to be like, Charles's summer freshman playlist.
Oh, it's ridiculous. There's somewhere out there, ladies and gentlemen. There's a CD.
Valley.
There's a CD of me rapping a song to a girl, to a girlfriend at the time.
Get the fuck. Tell me you have it somewhere.
No, I are you kidding me? I burned it, but somewhere there's a copy somewhere on planet Earth of that song. I don't know if I still had it. It'd be buried. I don't know. It'd be buried somewhere.
You wrote lyrics?
I wrote lyrics. My friend had a studio like in his house. I went, recorded a song. He produced the beat. I recorded a song and gave it to my then girlfriend.
How did it go?
Well, we clearly didn't stay together.
How long after?
But
was she like, holy shit? Was this a period in your life that you were going to get into like music?
Yes.
How old were you?
I had to be like 19. 19.
You were almost 20.
Yeah. Wow. I was dropping tracks.
Girl, what was the first line? Girl.
I don't remember at all.
Yeah,
girl. Whatever the fuck.
Was there a lot of talk down? Was there a lot of Teddy P? Like, baby?
There might have been.
You
crazy. Wild.
Slick motherfucker, you.
Wow. It probably was more. It probably sounded even more like spoken word than like an actual. Yeah.
We have to find this.
You
got to go home and dig through. Do you have her number?
Yes. But
Charles,
we haven't spoken in like a gazillion years.
Give me her number, and I'll be like, we're doing a documentary on Charles McBee.
I'll try.
Rumor has it he wrote you, please, can we do this? And then we'll play it on the...
She hates my guts to this day.
She doesn't hate me.
That's true.
Yet.
That's true.
So let's get that back.
All right.
Can I tell you, one time I play guitar. I dabble in the strings, okay?
Yeah.
And there was a moment where I was sitting outside with my ex, and I said, I went in the trunk of my car, and she's like, your guitar's there? You play guitar? I go, yeah, I actually kind of wrote you a song.
Oh.
And I pulled out the guitar, and I played a song called Waste by Fish. And it's this song that's like, if I could be wasting my time with you. And it's all very like, it's a beautiful song. And I played it and she melted like a fucking, I don't even know, dude, like a popsicle in August. And her admiration for me and what was never higher. And I'm laughing to myself inside going, this dummy. But I'm just reminding myself, don't ever play that song around her, you know, because it's like I listen to Fish a lot. Fast
Hilarious.
forward to like a couple years later, we're at a Fish concert.
And you forgot.
They played the song. And all of a sudden, I get a fresh smack in the face. And I go, what the fuck was that? She goes, you wrote this for me? You wrote this and sent it to your favorite band, and now they're covering you. And it was... I go, whoops. She goes, you asshole.
Whoopsie.
But for years, she thought I wrote.
So funny. Too funny.
But I didn't write a rap song.
Listen,
we gotta get that back.
I remember we got, if I recall, I gave it to her. We got back together for maybe like a couple months or something like that. I mean, we ended up breaking up because for other reasons, but I think it worked out. Like we got back together for like a few months after that.
Dude,
something about it back then, man.
I gotta hear this. I need to hear your rap song. You don't have no idea what it was even in the style of, like what it was like a.
I have buried.
How do you forget something like that?
Because
Charles?
I buried it in the depths of my subconscious and soul.
I bet it was great.
I don't think it was like bad. I think it's me looking back on it now. It's more embarrassing that I did it than it was like it turned out bad. You know what I mean? Because
Can you please let me research and try to find it for the podcast at least?
Sure.
Okay. All right. We'll get a hold of her. I promise. We're gonna do this, folks. Yeah. And then it turned into. Can I tell you? Let's get back on track real quick. The guy, one of my friends, Dave, goes, everybody give me your CDs because pretty soon these are going to be obsolete and I'm burning them onto. He had a boring accounting thing job where every day he would just sit and burn CDs onto a hard drive. And he started to create this master computer of all of our music. Dude, he was getting everybody's. Borrow your family's CDs, borrow your uncle's CDs, borrow this, borrow that, and just taking them and putting them into like literally a master computer. And then we'd have to buy hard drives, which cost like $1,000 at the time. But it was like all your music, anything you ever wanted is on this box that you plug into your computer and you played it through like Windows Media Player.
Mm-hmm.
And it had those crazy jazzy thingies that would go by your face and shit. And that's how you got your music. And then iPods and little iPod, little nanos and whatever the hell, the little thin ones that look like an Apple TV remote. You'd then stack 100 songs on that thing and walk around with it in your pocket. And it was like, dude, we are the Jetsons and a half now.
There's a moment in time you might be passing by where we would download. Did you ever do the illegal download? Were you a LimeWire consumer?
Yes. I didn't know how to do it. I always screwed it up. But I would that's when like I think basically like viruses began, right? In computers where they're like, oh, download this porn probably, but
oh yeah, definitely. But
download this song and then it's like all of a sudden there's like some weird.
And it was worth it every time.
Oh, so great. But it's like 45 hours to hear like a song.
Oh, you would wait an eternity. You would go to sleep at night with songs downloading and hoping that by the time you woke up, they'd be finished downloading.
A song, dude.
Then you would go through each one and it'd be like you would be halfway through the song and it'd be static or something like that, or it'd be the wrong song or a virus or whatever. Yeah.
People don't even realize how lucky they have it right now. If you loved music, you had to wait for it back in the day.
You had to wait. I mean,
and I'm nostalgic for the wait, Charles.
Yeah, man. Listen, a single was a single back then. We would buy the single and then it would whet our appetite for the album. Now singles, like what does that even mean anymore? What does it even mean?
I remember the smell of a new tape. You would open the
Yes.
tape and you'd pull out the tape and it smelled like crayons or something, some like weird, like waxy something. And then you'd open up fold out the inside of the
The
tape
linear
case
notes.
and there was the lyrics sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and there was the thanks, and it was always like, where'd they put God? You know, and you'd look, and then you'd see all like the artwork that never made the cover,
That's right. Yep.
Oh my God, those were the days.
Yep.
Those were the days.
Even the way I could still hear the way the tape case opened for the first time.
It's like,
yep. I remember, man.
it.
You brought up something real quick. You remember soundtracks was a thing back then? Because you said something earlier about soundtracks.
Judgment Night.
I mean, movies actually had soundtracks back then that were incredible.
That should be a top. That should be a soon to be top 3, top 5 on the podcast. Is our top soundtracks of our childhood.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, yeah. Do you go back and listen to any now that you're kind of like
soundtracks?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, because a lot of back then soundtracks were produced by. The movie company would be in cahoots with the record label, so they would have entire record labels produce the soundtrack. So they were like dope. So like the Nutty Professor soundtrack is a phenomenal soundtrack.
Space Jam was sick.
Space Jam, are you kidding me? Fucking Space Jam was insane.
Yep.
Great fucking soundtrack. Above
Do you
the
remember
Rim
Judgment Night?
Judgment Night. Which
Judgment Night was when metal and hip hop merged together. So like there'd be like Biohazard and House of Pain would do a song together, and 9 Inch Nails and Cypress Hill. I mean, I'm throwing out the wrong ones, but it was like, dude, it was batshit. The amount of like, I'll look it up real quick and tell you. Helmet, all the biggest. Just Another Helmet and House of Pain, Teenage Fan Club and De La Soul, Living Color and Run DMC, Biohazard and Onyx, Slayer and Ice-T, Faith No More and the Booyah Tribe, Sonic Youth and Cypress Hill, Mudhoney and Sir Mix-a-Lot, Dinosaur Jr. and Del the Funky Homo Sapien, Therapy and Fatal, Cypress Hill and Pearl Jam from 1993. But it was like all your favorite, all your favorite, rappers and all your favorite metal bands like joining together and making this like one crazy thing.
That's incredible.
Yeah, soundtracks were badass, dude. We'll have to go through those together. Tell us your music memories, ladies and gentlemen. areweoldpodcast@gmail.com. Are you a tape head? Are you a CD head? Did you hold on to any of your old stuff? What are we forgetting? What memories are we stoking up in that fire of a brain that you have? areweoldpodcast@gmail.com, or hit us up on the socials at areweold. Charles, we got fan mail, buddy.
Yeah.
Just a reminder, everyone, you should send your emails to us, areweoldpodcast@gmail.com. Write in the comments. What would you like for us to chat about? Do you have any questions for us? Do you have any thoughts on the show? We got a message. Mike and Charles, thank you so much. Loving this. Feel like we grew up together. That's nice.
That is nice.
My question is this. What were your guys' first cars? Oh, that's easy. A fun one. That's a fun one. Thank you for the message, Steve.
Yeah, man. You want me to go? Or you want to go? I had a burnt orange 98 Mazda Protege.
What? Burnt orange?
Yeah. I love that thing. I loved it. I loved everything about it except for the horn. For whatever reason, whoever designed this car, when they thought to put the horn inside the thing, it sounded like the Roadrunner. There was nothing masculine about this horn whatsoever. I used to get teased so much every time I would have to honk it for any reason. Whoever was sitting next to me or in the backseat would be like, "Stop honking that fucking thing!" Meep. But it looked badass, and it drove like a mofo. It was good. It was a great car. Can I tell you something too?
Please.
Before this is another embarrassing, not embarrassing, but it should be embarrassing tidbit. This is when chrome rims were big in the hip
Okay.
hop world, and spinning rims was huge. Now, did I have chrome spinning rims? Of course not. I was 19. But what I did have was plastic metal looking hubcaps that I got from Walmart that spun around. That spun
You got
around.
spin around ones? You're
That's
kidding.
that spun around. So I would be driving around with these hubcaps that look like I don't know what these plastic hubcaps that look like fake chrome.
That
And
is
when I would stop at
hilarious.
a light, they would spin around and they'd be spinning around. And one time I'm driving, and I hit a stop, and I look out front of me, and my fucking hubcap is rolling down the street.
That's
So
fantastic. And then you had 3.
I had 3. Now I had 3. Talk about oh yeah, when my car stops, my wheels keep spinning. Mine literally kept spinning and down the block.
Wow, dude.
And I'd have to
that's
get out and
amazing.
try and snap it back onto my car. Yeah.
Hilarious. Now let me ask you this. Was it a hand-me-down or was it you purchased it?
My dad got it for me.
Okay.
When I went off to college, I went off to college. I was in Cincinnati, and it was my way to get to and fro.
Okay.
I remember I got a birthday present. It was like maybe my 18th birthday part. Yeah, I think it was
Nice.
like my 18th birthday present or something like that.
Nice.
And
That's
I was
cool.
able to drive back and forth to campus, and also was a king dingling on campus because if you had a car, oh my God, forget about it.
You
So
became a man.
it was good times. Good times.
Nice.
Yeah. And then, speaking of music, had the CD case, the CD book, the CD
Case
Bible
logic.
under the seat, had to whip it out and fucking, throw those pages, see
Talk
which
about distracted driving, right?
oh my God. What are we or some people had it in the visor, in the
visor.
sun visor. You get your CD out and all right, what are we doing today? Oh, here we go. Oh, you're not ready for this. It would slide in slowly.
It would suck it.
Yeah, suck it in.
Suck it in.
Yeah,
Wow.
man.
Incredible.
Yeah. Good times, man. Good times. What about you? What was your first car?
Oh boy. Well, I'll tell you what. My dad had this little Ford Ranger pickup truck that I was madly in love with, and I wanted it so bad. All I wanted was this neat little beat up pickup truck. I got my driver's license. I passed the test, and I go home one day, and my mom's like, "I got something I want to talk to you about." And I was like, "Whoa. She goes, "Your grandfather wants to give you his car." And I'm like, "All right, which one?" Because he had a Chevy Lumina that was pretty hot. And he had a 1984 Buick Park Avenue.
I was just gonna say. Don't tell me. Was it the Buick?
It was the Buick,
How
dude.
did I know that Grandpa and Buick went hand in hand?
Buick Park Ave, dude. And it was the size of like a school bus, red with a white top. One of the windows in the back was taped up with moving tape, like beige cardboard box colored tape.
Yeah.
If you stepped on the brakes, for some reason the radio turned down.
Hilarious.
And it was a boat, and it had but it was like a luxury back in the day. Like he spared no expense. It had like power mirrors and like pull down like windows with the button. It wasn't like a roll up. But the cushions, dude, it was like the most cushy, pimped out, all red inside.
Mm-hmm.
Like the back seat was literally a couch. And dude, it was just what a hilarious car to drive. It was like a clown car, dude. It was gigantic. And I hated it. I hated it so much, dude. It was huge. And I had a girlfriend at the time, and everybody else is driving like, little cool Volkswagens and like whatever other bullshit. And I got this like basically a limo. It was like Connecticut limo, dude.
Yeah.
Right. So I couldn't wait to get rid of that thing. And I saved my money, and a friend of mine was working at a car gas station. And he goes, dude, I got a powder blue Chevy Nova hatchback, $500. He goes, I just rebuilt the engine. It's going to run forever. Come buy it. So I borrowed, I think $100 or $200 from like my aunt or something. And I had the rest of the money. I begged my dad. I'm like, can you drive me down to this gas station? I'm going to buy this car. And he's like, all right. So he drives me there, Charles. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I walk in, I hand my buddy the money. He hands me the keys. We literally on a piece of paper, I now own this car. It was like a title. What a bullshit, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I get in it and I go, what the hell is this thing? It's standard. Okay. I don't know how to drive stick, but I don't know what to do. My dad already took off. He like just dropped me off and left. So now this is now my car and I don't know how to get it to move.
So you didn't even test drive it. You didn't do anything before you had
Test
it.
drive it. Where did you grow up? What the hell? How'd they do it in Cincinnati? You trusted my boy Paul. May God rest his soul. He's no longer with us. He goes, I got this for you. It's good. I promise you. And I go, okay, I trust Paul.
Yeah.
So he gave me the keys and I got in and it started up like a champ. Stalled because I didn't have the foot on the clutch.
Right.
He goes, you don't know how to drive stick? I go, no. So we got in and he showed me, he's like, left foot, is the clutch, right foot. And we went over it a little bit and I figured it out just enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, I don't know how to stop. So like I just put it in neutral and kind of coasted back into the gas station. He got out and then I put it back and I had to just figure it out. I putzed around town until I wasn't stuttering and stalling. And but that car, the Supernova, dude, this thing was powder blue, 5-door, had a hatchback that you had to turn it and open it and it wouldn't stay like this. The whatever you call it's the suspension thing that would hold up the back, stop working. So I would just rest it on my head if I had to get anything out of the car. You know what I mean?
So funny.
The idea of fixing it was like, no, it's broke now.
Yeah, that's it.
And the ceiling didn't have a fabric. It was just styrofoam. So everybody wrote their names like in the ceiling. Dude, I put a tape deck in that thing that was worth 3 times probably the amount of the car.
Oh God, the tape deck. You swapped out the tape
Pioneer, dude. Or no, yeah, it was a Pioneer. And you press the top left corner and the face would come out.
Face have to come off. We would take our stereos with us in our pockets.
We would take our stereos with us and the face of it.
Yeah.
Because if someone stole the rest of it, what would it be worth?
Who
right?
cares? But they can't.
Who cares? No, I got the face.
The stereo costs more than the damn car.
Bro.
Yeah.
The Supernova, loved that car. Loved it. Didn't have any power steering. Oh, it was a mess. God, that was my mess. It was like a little rescue dog, that car.
Yeah, man. Your first car is your baby.
I loved it. I loved it. Oh, man. Imagine that. Burnt orange and powder blue. They don't make those anymore.
Mm-mm.
What were your first cars, folks? Are we old podcast at gmail.com or hit us up on the socials.
Stay young, my friend.